still good morning. So it's such an honor, a privilege and a pleasure to be in front of you. I've heard so much about this faculty. I met so many CEOs in Bangladesh and senior leaders who are alumni of this faculty. And I can tell that all of them are very high quality. And so really impressed by them, and coming here, I was feeling a little nervous because I'm going to talk to the best students in the country. And so I was thinking what to say. I thought it might be useful, rather than telling you what a CEO does, actually give you kind of a roadmap on how to get there. And a kind of a practical roadmap. So if you have any way of noting some of this content, please do it. I know it's been videos, so you can watch it later, or you can have your audio recording or device on, or if you have some paper, the old-fashioned way, you can write that as well. I'll start a little bit about myself, which to set the context. As you know, I come from Sri Lanka, and you might have heard that Sri Lanka has a very high literacy rate. About 92% of students study up to year 8, or 92% of children study up to year 8. So therefore, and most of them continue to study into GC, O levels and advanced levels, or A levels as you call it. So therefore, it's only a small percentage of students are selected into university. So even if you do A levels, only about 10% are able to go into university, at least the time I was doing my exams. So I was not very good in studies, so I was more interested in doing my sports, and I was in various associations. I was a Boy Scout. So therefore I was just not good enough for university. I just got 3 ordinary passes. So let alone enter a university, I couldn't even go near the gate. So it was quite challenging. But fortunately, organizations hired people who had A-level passes and some extracurricular activities like sports as management trainees. So at the age of 19, instead of going to university, I went and joined a company as a management trainee. And I remember at that point, my salary was 750 rupees, which is equivalent to about 400 taka. And my father was working in the government. He was a civil engineering technical officer. He was not even a qualified engineer, he was a technical officer. So they don't get paid too much either. So I remember I needed 1,350 rupees to live every month. I still have those numbers sketched in my head, because those were the most important numbers for my life. With the greatest difficulty, my father gave me the required money to survive. I remember waiting till Friday evening, because our weekend was Saturday, Sunday. Friday evening, because I was working in Colombo, which is the capital city. My parents were living in Kandy, which is the hill capital. So I was waiting to get into a bus, get back home, so that I can have some decent food prepared by my mother. And Monday morning, I was again in a bus coming back. Now, this was quite challenging, but I knew there has to be a solution. And I knew knowledge is a great equalizer. Someone said knowledge is power, perhaps I would say it's more an equalizer, because I particularly don't like the word power for various reasons. And I'm very thankful for my organization who sent me to the National Institute of Business Management to learn marketing. So very interestingly, we had an engineer and an accountant who spoke earlier, so I got a marketer speaking to you as well. I passed that examination, a diploma in marketing with a merit pass. Then I did the CIM, the Chartered Institute of Marketing exam, which you could sit in Sri Lanka by taking classes. And there at the final examination, I got the gold medal for the best results in the world. So this is like students from 80 countries were competing for this, and I was suddenly number 1. But I know I really worked hard, because I think the struggles and I had and the difficulties made me really work hard to develop myself. With that in hand, I was hired by a company called John Keel's Holdings as their marketing manager at the age of 24. If you Google up, you'll see John Keel's is the largest market capitalized company in Sri Lanka. I was marketing manager for their food division. I made that company one of the most profitable companies in the John Keel's group. That 3 years later, they made me a director of Keel's Foods, the subsidiary I was working. So I think as at now, I think at 27 years I was the director of that company, and I would think I'm still the youngest ever appointed to that post. I did a lot of work. We bought Pizza Hut to Sri Lanka. We decided to open a supermarket chain, so I bought in the first supermarket chain in Sri Lanka. So did many things. And about 5 years later, I was attending a training program called Mastery of Self through Neuro-Linguistic Programming, conducted by a gentleman called Omar Khan, born in Pakistan. He lives in the US right now. And I was fascinated by what I learned in those 4 days from Omar Khan. I'm sure most of you would have realized that given my beginnings, that I had really had a very steep upward curve. But there I realized that I hadn't really done anything at all yet. Although I was successful career-wise, I was not very happy. Maybe I was getting sick, I was stressed, I was working long hours. My relationships were not very sound because I was not paying enough attention to my wife, because I went home so late all the time, and a lot of things were happening, and I knew there was something missing. But that program showed that there is another way to live. There's a better way to live. What I would like to share is that secret or that formula which worked for me. But let me tell you something in the outset. What worked for me may not actually work for you, because we are all different. Okay? Different cultures, different religions, different geographies, different DNA. We are so different. So therefore, in my philosophy, there is no right answer. Also, what worked for me today may not work for me tomorrow, because the world keeps changing. And it is almost crazy to try to look at a success formula and say, yes, it worked for this person, so it will work for me. That's, unfortunately, that's how the world is structured. That's how educational systems are structured. That's why in schools and universities we look for the right answer. And that's why we try to by heart and memorize and write the right answer. It is okay, as one of the earlier speakers said, to get into an organization, but not to proceed from there onwards. Similarly, if there is no right answer, there is no wrong answer, right? Because if what worked for you doesn't work for you, that means you might look at her and say, oh, that's a wrong answer. And isn't it better to say, instead of saying that's wrong or you're wrong, that's interesting, that's different. Tell me more. I like to understand this issue from your point of view. But if we start getting into each other's shoes and start looking at the world from different points of view, what a wonderful world this will be. I believe a lot of the issues we have is we have the agenda to prove that I am right, you're wrong. And that leads to ego issues, fights, misunderstandings, the competition. And the kind of culture I'm trying to bring around now as a leadership development consultant, as a CEO coach, is to create that consciousness in people's mind. Human Resource Conference of Bangladesh happens starting tomorrow. Ajanta Dharmasiri, professor. And I went to PIM and did my MBA and continued to work. Now, few years later, I decided to leave that company, John Keel's, and start my own, follow my heart, be the CEO of my life. People were amazed. People said, what's wrong with you? You're only 35 years old. So at 35 years, I decided to retire from corporate life after having been a CEO for 7 years of their company. And that is because I wanted to work with Omar Khan, who had this amazing message and method and technology which can help people better. Meanwhile, I became chairman of CIM and I brought down Omar Khan to Sri Lanka so many times. I think right now more than 100 CEOs have gone through Omar Khan's program 15, 20 years ago. Even a few days ago, I came to Dhaka yesterday. So day before I was meeting someone, he said, okay, 15 years ago I came to my program here. Khan is now MD of the company. So now so many people have gone through this process and I'm so happy that I'm able to start developing all these people. And it's all about not about the technical knowledge. This is all good to be technical in what you do. But what is needed is EQ, the emotional cohesion, which really makes the difference. It's about being a people person. It's about being able to listen to people, understand people, and make people feel dignified and respected. I never ever tell anyone you're wrong. I always try to understand where they're coming from. But I'm not perfect. I have a bad temper. Sometimes I get angry. Sometimes I get really angry when people become negative or challenge me. And that's something I'm still working on. Now, one of the things which really turned my life is the notion of purpose. What is the purpose of our life? Have you ever wondered, why are you on this earth? Why are you here seated right now? What are we doing here? What is the purpose? And I thought my purpose was to help others to be the best they can be, and thereby develop myself. That's what I thought almost 20 years ago when I attended the training. But 3 years ago I decided to continue my studies. I was of course always learning. I normally read about 5 books at any given time. And I don't read one, I keep changing because I get bored if I read one. So I read one, go to another one, come back. So generally there's about 5 on my list. But one of the things I did 3 years ago is to decide to pursue my studies again. So I became a doctoral student. So I am now pursuing my PhD at the Ashridge Business School in London, which is a part of the Hult University in the US. And it's a Department of Organizational Change. I was very happy to hear that you started something on organizational strategy. What was it? Strategy and leadership. So this is organizational change. And my thesis right now is into the notion of purposefulness. So what I thought is, whilst NLP is close to my heart, but I thought it might be useful to talk about purpose. Because NLP takes a longer time to go through, but purpose is also a complex study. But I think it gives a better start to really give you a formula to understand what your purpose is and how to live purposefully. Would that be useful? Yes? No? But you can go into my blog. It's very simple, ranjandesilva.blog. Go there, you can find loads of material about NLP and so many other things, including videos and various things. Okay, so let me give you something. If you want to have something to write, please make a note. First thing to ask yourself, what is your purpose? I think I have come across 4 questions you need to think about, reflect, write, answer in order to find your purpose. So if you like, you can make a note of these 4 questions. The first question is, what makes me feel fully alive? What makes you feel alive, joyous, energetic? What kind of work? I believe we are all born, gifted by the Almighty with some particular talent. Like Mr. Navid Hussain was saying, he thought it's only the musicians and the actors, but everyone has something. When you do, what do you feel really joyous? So think about the subjects in school which you really enjoy doing. Think about the subjects in university. Think about the type of work you're doing. Think about being in skill hunt. Does this make you energetic, joyous? And that is because you love doing it and you're good at it. That's why certain people are cricketers and not actors. Certain people are actors and not doctors. And certain people are doctors and not barristers, right? They are good at something. I thought I want to be an engineer because my father was one. Ended up becoming a marketer. and now ended up becoming a psychologist. I don't know what, I'm completely confused at the moment. I keep searching, and I think this whole journey of purpose is a lifelong journey. So the first question to ask yourself, what makes you feel fully alive? Second question is, ask yourself, what are your struggles? What have you been struggling with? I know a gentleman who came to one of my NLP workshops recently, and he was struggling with depression. He even took his life many times. He just couldn't take it. But finally, someone helped him. He got out of it, and he realized that depression can be dealt with. And he's made it his purpose to help other young people who are suffering with depression to get out of it. And he claims up to now that he has saved 104 lives. And a young gentleman, maybe only about 24 years old. So sometimes our struggles can be the purpose. Maybe you're struggling with the illness, maybe with something like depression, maybe with relationship issues, maybe with financial issues. And if you really think about it, maybe the Almighty gave you those struggles to make you realize and make you learn techniques and ways and methods of dealing with it, so that you make that your purpose to help others who have the same issue. So the second question is, what are my struggles? Ask yourself, what have you been struggling with? What are you struggling now? The third question I would think is, what are your concerns? What are your concerns? What worries you about the world? What bothers you about the world? Is an environment a concern for you? The way we ruin it by cutting off trees and building dams and messing up the water system and throwing plastics. Is that a concern? Is poverty a concern when you see poor people on the road without having a meal to eat? Is child labor a concern for you? When children should be in school, that they're actually being employed by factories, is that a concern? What's your concern? Is marginalizing certain communities a concern, like the Rohingya issue we're all concerned about? Or certain, like sometimes how children or women or particular religions or men for that matter are marginalized by other groups of people. Is that a concern for you? So the third question is, ask yourself what concerns you, and perhaps you feel it in your heart, because the Almighty has put something inside you to say you are supposed to be someone who is going to help solve this problem in this world. That's the third question. And fourth question is, what will help you to make a living? You need to live at the end of the day, right? You need to make some money. Okay? So you can't do all these things and just not have money to live. So what will help you to make a living? And actually going back to the earlier three questions might give you that answer. If you love doing something, maybe that might also help you to make a living. The secret for me is, how do you make your vacation, how do you make your vocation a vacation? Okay, vocation is your job. Can it be a vacation? For me, I'm not going to work now. I go on a holiday every morning because I enjoy doing this stuff. When I run these workshops and I consult for people, I'm really helping people to understand. And right now, after 3 years of my PhD, I have a year more to go. In fact, in a month, I have a very important hurdle, the progression viva as they call it. Right now, my purpose is to help make this world a better place through purposeful people. How do we make this world a better place? How do we deal with issues? And I don't have answers. You need to find answers for that. Now, once you think about those questions, write a purpose statement which has 3 parts. So 4 parts were the 4 questions. 3 parts is your purpose statement. Now, the purpose statement firstly will answer the question, why of my life? Why am I on this earth? By reflecting on those, you might say, okay, my why is this? First is why. Second is, how will I behave? How will I behave? What are my values? What are my values? Are you going to be someone who is selfless to help others, empathetic, caring, respectful? What are the values? Because I believe when you live those values, Almighty will give you the required energy, the positive energy required to live happily. It's not about achieving, I'm not even talking about being a CEO. I'm talking about I'm going to live in a good life, live a life which I look after my health. So there are 9 areas I think you need to, when you talk about values. What about your spiritual side? Have a purposeful living is live spiritually every day. Do your prayers 5 times a day. If you are Muslim or other religions, your rituals, do your prayers. Spiritual. Help other people, spiritual things. Do meditation. Bring your brain level down. Secondly, look after your emotions. Things like anger, hatred. Work on your emotions every day. Think about how can I be better in my emotions. Thirdly, work on your relations with other people, family. Give them time, even 5 minutes a day. Call your mother, call your dad, say how they are doing. Teach your children homework once you get there. I don't know how many of you are married already, but kids are so important. They are like the oxygen which gives you the energy. So work on your emotions, relations. Then your physical side, do exercises. I was so impressed when I heard the earlier speaker say that at 63 he runs so many miles a day. And thankfully I try to do the same thing every morning. I wake up at 4:45 in the morning. I join something called the 5 a.m. club, which is the first hour is my yoga. I do meditation, then I walk. And then the next 1.5 hours up to 7:30, I would do my studies, read, write, and then I go to work. So by 7:30 in the morning, my main stuff is done. Brain is nourished, my spirit is nourished. And then do something for your money, finance, without no spending and going and buying all those fancy gadgets. Can you put some money into to work for you, into some investment? Because you need that money to keep you going. You have to go and buy the new outfit, the fashions and what it is coming. I know we may have a little, they may have a lot, but how do we make the most of it? Then look after your ecology. Just before I came, I went and signed up. I just fixed a solar system for my house. I wanted to do something for the environment. So now I'm not using the grid energy. It's on solar now. So that way, so step by step. My next step is I'm going to stop using plastic straws and plastic bottles. Can we do something? Because I am really concerned about environment, amongst other things. Then you talk about society. Can you do something for the society every day? And finally, how do you make the best of your time, limited time you have? And as you plan these things, so these all will come under the second part of the question, values. And the final question is, what will you say yes to? What will you say yes to? Once you live like this, the universe, the Almighty will give you opportunities. Then you might say, if I get an opportunity to be a CEO, I'll say yes to it. But you're not going to run behind to be a CEO. That's where the depression happens. I want to be a CEO, I'm trying, it's not happening, and I get upset, I get angry, I start hating the world. I would say, put it out there. If I get an opportunity to write a book, I'll say yes. If I get an opportunity to go to an overseas university and finish out my master's, I'll say yes to it. So put all this out there in the universe. And if you are living the life, the universe, the God Almighty will listen to you and perhaps give you the opportunity to do it. So that's my mantra. Not to run behind goals, but live a life. Goals will come behind you. Just have it at the back of the mind. And that makes the difference. Talking a bit about NLP, 2 lines because I know I'm running out of time as well. Neuro-linguistic programming simply is neuro is your brain and nervous system. Linguistic is language. Programming is like programming a computer. So NLP or neuro-linguistic programming is how do you program your brain like you would program a computer. So that you could give up your bad habits, you can get rid of your depression, you can erase your bad memories, like deleting files from the computer. You can do loads of stuff so that you don't have to carry baggage in your mind and body. You can start living a life which is peaceful, happy. So NLP is a toolkit, a mental toolkit used by the top peak performers of the world. So with that, I would like to finish off by reciting 2 poems for you. The first poem is for ladies. Ladies, are you ready? Okay. Okay, ladies, you need to find a mirror as I say this poem, right? Okay, you don't have to look at the mirror now, but think about the mirror. I know most of your mirrors are mobile phones, right? Okay, so it goes this way. Mirror, mirror on the wall, what's the meaning of it all? Is there anything more to life than just being a loving wife? I love my children dearly, but will they just come by yearly? Day by day I cook, I go to the store, I wash their clothes. There I wish for something more than just to scrub and wax the floor. Aren't my dreams of some value too? I have a body, I have a soul. I have a target, I have a goal. I want to earn, I want to reach. And I want to learn, I want to teach. I want a higher education, a chance to guide this nation. I want to set my own footprints on the moon and leave this cocoon. I don't want to be a man. I like the woman I am. I want to see this world a better place, blessed by my special female grace. Mirror, mirror on the wall, help me help him. Hear my call. The only thing I want to see is the freedom for me to be really me. And that's for all the ladies in this room. And also for all the ladies of the men in this room. Okay, take that message to your heart as you go. Men, you have a tougher job. You need to find a crystal ball. Okay, so look at the crystal ball and say, crystal ball, oh crystal ball, what's the meaning of it all? Will my empire rise and fall, ashes to ashes, dust to dust? Sometimes I'm really scared just to be really me. Day by day, I go to work, I earn my daily bread, I watch TV, I go to bed. And before I know, the year is gone. I know this is not a practice game. I know there is no Martyrs Hall of Fame. There are days even when the heroes are blown, but every day is the Super Bowl. Winning is a habit, so is losing. Losers live in glass houses, bring nothing but mourning. Losers blame bad luck when they lose. They hide behind drugs and booze. Losers know how to procrastinate, but winners know how to accelerate. Winners know how to begin, not yesterday, not tomorrow. Winners know winning is beginning, beginning is now. I dream it now, I need it now, I drive it now, and I do it now. And then I see the picture of me, the person I really want to be. I think I can, I know I can, to be my greatest coach and fan. And then when I love myself enough, I get the strength to give my special gift to the world. And when I get exhausted and yet give my... All the men in this room, thank you very much. So please take that message with you as well. So ladies and gentlemen, I wish you all the best. I invite you to be connected with me. You can find me on all kinds of social media. If you have any questions, please do ask me. I'll be the happiest to help you. Please do follow my blog. There are a lot of things to read there. And please believe in yourself. Look for that purpose. Finding the purpose is a lifelong journey. You may not find it until your last day, but if you actually start thinking about you will really start finding real happiness, peace, and success. Thank you very much.